In this video, I'm going to be making a milk chocolate medicinal mushroom elixir. It's actually not going to contain much chocolate at all, and actually with the synergy of a few other ingredients, we'll be able to mimic that taste without having to really go heavy on the chocolate. So in the blender, I already have about 16 ounces of warm water, a couple tablespoons of coconut oil, and a teaspoon or so of honey. Now, one thing I want to mention about coconut oil and about saturated fat in general, while we're on the subject, is that it's really important for your overall health, for your overall nutrition. And if you're not getting enough saturated fat, your hormones are going to suffer, and your health overall is going to suffer at a really deep foundational level. Because the saturated fat actually protects our nervous system and helps us build our hormones. And if we're not getting that in a dietary source, our health is really going to be dramatically and drastically undermined. And that goes for, anyone on any kind of a diet, no matter what it is. Typically, we don't really consume a lot of saturated fat, so things like raw butter, raw cream, raw coconut oil, raw coconut products are all really excellent things to have in your diet. And eat as much as you feel comfortable doing and is reasonable and legitimate for you. So the first ingredient I'm going to add to make this, milky and tasty is going to be 2 scoops of whey. And again, it's a cold processed whey protein from grass-fed cows. If you have, say, Sun Warrior or some sort of other protein that you want to use that's vanilla flavor, you can use that, but it's not going to make it as milky or creamy. So your results will be slightly different than this. So the next ingredient I'm going to add is going to be a tablespoon of vanilla, which is really going to add to that creamy flavor. And the next ingredient is going to be a squirt of vanilla stevia. And I'm kind of doing this backwards. I usually start with more of the other flavors first, then the herbs, then the sweeteners and such, but we'll just go with it. So the next ingredient, as I said, is going to be a squirt of English Toffee stevia, and I'll probably do actually a squirt and a half, because if you've never had this stuff, if you've never tasted it, I highly recommend it. It's amazing and excellent, and it can really allow you to take your drinks and whatever things you're making to an entirely new level. But be careful at first, because if you're not used to the taste, it can be strong and you don't want to overdo it. So as usual, start with less and add more. The next thing I'm going to add is going to be about 4 squirts or so of these angstrom trace minerals. And if you want to check these out, there will be a link below this video. So there's 1, there's about 4. And the weird thing is there's this huge dropper, but as you can see, it comes up like 1/8 of the way. So you have to really squirt it a lot to even get a full dropper. So that's about maybe 4 full droppers of the angstrom trace minerals, which angstrom just refers to the size, which means that it's really small and it's really easy for your cells to actually absorb and utilize the minerals. So we got most of the ingredients in there. So next we're going to get into the herbs that are really going to allow this to be chocolatey without us having to add a lot of cacao. Because for me, I feel like cacao is best in smaller amounts, and unless I really want to get amped and stimulated, I don't really want to do a lot of it. And some people I know are sensitive to it, so having just a minimal amount in there or none at all is beneficial. So if you didn't want to use cacao, you could just use more Dandy Blend, or you could use carob or something like that, whatever you're working with. But I'm going to be using about 2 teaspoons of chaga. This is a 10-to-1 concentrate extract, which this is all I have left. And yes, there will be more coming soon, if you're wondering about that. So the next herb is going to be hoshu, and I'll add about 2 teaspoons of that as well. And this is again a 10-to-1 concentrate extract of hoshu, and this wouldn't be a complete elixir without, of course, reishi. So we're going to do about the same amount of that, just under a tablespoon actually of reishi extract. And now all of these herbs have a rich, dark flavor to them, kind of coffee-esque, kind of chocolatey, which put together with the dandy blend will be a really dark, rich, coffee-like taste. And then with a little bit of cacao, it'll really just kind of come up and you'll have a nice kind of mocha flavor that will be counterbalanced with the milkiness and the creaminess of the vanilla powder, the stevia, and of course the whey. So let's see, the next ingredient is going to be one of the main things that's really going to bring this together, and that is dandy blend. So there's about a heaping tablespoon of dandy blend. If you weren't using any chocolate whatsoever, you could just double it. You could do 2 tablespoons and just roll with that. But because I'm going to use just a slight amount of chocolate, probably about a teaspoon, just to bring in that flavor and provide a little bit of stimulation. Because it's early and it's cold and I've got some things I want to do in a little bit, so a little stimulation will be alright. So I'm going to blend this up and I'll be back to let you know. Okay, so here I am with my finished product. I've already tasted it. Hopefully you can see that it's nice and frothy and there's a nice kind of a head to it, so it has a really nice creamy latte flavor as well as texture. And I can tell you the conjunction of the English toffee with all of the bitter herbs with the creaminess and milkiness of the whey thrown in makes this a really incredible drink that just tastes amazing. And it's something I think I could sip on pretty much all day, not really get tired of. And now I will say that off camera I realized that I forgot to add chia seeds. So I added a couple tablespoons of soaked chia seeds. You can add Irish moss, slippery elm bark powder, or chia, whatever you're working with. And as I was thinking about it, if you really wanted to take this to the next level as far as creaminess and overall nutrition, you could add some colostrum, which as you can see, I'm completely out of and I need to get more. So I think that in conjunction with the whey, whatever is taking this drink way over the top. But from the chaga, the reishi, and the hoshu wu, we're getting a really nice effect and a really deep nourishment at a fundamental level from, building the jing, building the immune system, building the qi, calming inflammation. All these things are happening in a really profound way from these powerful herbs, because these herbs themselves were all sacred foods, they're all revered, they're all worshipped, and really highly respected by all of these cultures. But now we're able to get them in a strong, high quality, concentrated extract form. We can just easily add to a drink like this, make something that tastes amazing. And honestly, it only requires a few basic ingredients and takes just a few minutes. We can have something that's really deeply nourishing. And they always said that, growing up as a kid, breakfast is the most important meal of the day or sets the tone for the day. And I think personally, starting the day with an elixir of some kind is an optimal way to start the day, and is a great way to start the day on the right foot. Meaning if you're trying to battle, your diet or food cravings, or you're trying to make changes, starting the day with something that's incredibly nutrient dense and incredibly nourishing for your body, has a lot of protein, has a lot of good fats, has a minimal amount of carbs, plus the herbs, plus whatever other supplements you want to add in, whether that be, trace minerals or whatever. You're getting such a solid foundation to build the rest of the day on, that having something like this can really shift your food cravings away from things that you may not want them, to really be going to. So whether that's sweets or salty things or whatever things you're trying to shift away from, having something like this that's so nutrient dense and so just makes you feel so good is a great way to start the day, and can make changes a lot easier, as well as allowing you to achieve things much more optimally and easily and effectively. So all those adverbs aside, that's my drink. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.